What's poppin', ladies and gentlemen? My name is Christopher Claflin, and earlier this week I posted a photo on Instagram, last night actually, of me in front of and inside a Gulfstream jet. And that's the kind that like really wealthy people, celebrities, everybody flies these jets private. I wanted to know exactly how easy it is to fake something like that in Photoshop. Let's dive into how this was done. Shat we? We shat. Let me tell you how I did this. So in order to get a photorealistic Photoshop composite, you kind of have to start backwards and you work your way to the beginning. You have to start with the stage where you want to place yourself. In this case, it was in front of a G7, a G5, a G6. What kind of jet is that? A Gulfstream. It's just a Gulfstream. We'll leave it at that. Anyone who's anybody flies in these types of jets. So I wanted to make sure that I got a selfie like, look what I'm about to get on, in front of the jet. And I also wanted a selfie just like casually chilling inside the airplane cabin. So I started with finding those images first, and that's really important because those images contain information about lighting direction, intensity, the color of the light. That's really important to match in the photo shoot of you when you're taking a photo of you or your subject that you're going to place into this environment later, because all of that stuff, lighting and color, time of day, direction of the sun, that's really hard to replicate in Photoshop. And I will be the first to say that I'm no Photoshop expert. I'm approaching this from a standpoint of like, what's the easiest way to get the best results for people that just like kind of want to dabble. So you have to start backwards, work your way from the environment that you want to place yourself into, and then orchestrate everything around the conditions within those images. So I'm not really wanting to go anywhere for this photo. So I'm gonna shoot it all in my living room. And this is all I'm gonna use for it. Got the 1DX and a tripod. Gotta take off this friction arm. And I'm gonna use my backpack just as a prop. Anyway, I'm gonna turn this couch right here into a couch inside of a Gulfstream jet. And so I've got two photos that I'm gonna do. One is gonna be me outside the Gulfstream as if I'm getting ready to board. And then the other one is gonna be just me lounging on the couch of a Gulfstream, getting ready for takeoff. I'm so rich. Oh, got this amazing life, gonna make so much money. So anyway, yeah, I'm just gonna set up the tripod basically right here. I'm gonna lay on the couch, gonna get that shot, and then I'm gonna head outside when the lighting is close to the lighting, how it is in my donor image, and I'm gonna take that shot. And then I'm gonna edit the two in Photoshop. That's what I'm doing today. One of the other things I have to pay attention to is the type of lens and position of the camera in the donor image. Well, it's not really the donor image, it's the image that I'm placing myself into. And that's closer to the 2470 than it is to the 50mm that I have on the 1DX right now. So I'm swapping out the lenses. I'm gonna position that with the tripod to match as closely as possible. Then I'm gonna open up the windows so that I can get kind of the same lighting effect. So let's go do it. All right, so before we dive into the Photoshop part of compositing this image, I want to touch really quickly on a couple of the reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing here. Because I've had people comment on some of my social accounts like, oh man, you must be really insecure to want to Photoshop this life that isn't real. And other people have been like, your friends must be awful if you're wanting to flex on them all the time. Like, what's up with that? And both of those things are true. My friends are the worst and I'm super insecure. I'm just kidding. Maybe I am, I don't know. I actually don't have a good answer for like the main driving force behind this, because ultimately it boils down to the fact that like I did a couple of these images and it was just really, really fun. And I feel like this path of creativity matches my skill level in Photoshop, which is not super high. At least I don't think it is super high. And it's also like along the lines of the things that I'm interested in. I love fancy cars. I really love just jets and airplanes and exotic locations. I have this vision of creating an Instagram feed that is like the Instagram feed of what you would imagine the most interesting man in the world's Instagram looks like. Like, I want to put together a feed that even if you had all the money in the world, you couldn't keep up with the amount of posts because you'd have to physically move from like all over the world and constantly be taking pictures and creating madness and mayhem. But with Photoshop, you can do all of that just like from an office like this. And that is fascinating to me. Reason number 2 behind this whole thing that I'm doing, I feel like there's kind of a problem on social media these days. There's a lot of content creators out there that make really great content. But most of the content that's on YouTube, that's on Instagram, none of it's really real, I don't think. You're only seeing what those people want you to see. And there's nothing wrong with that, because as a creator, like I'm doing the same thing. But I think what's difficult, especially for younger viewers, is it's hard to see past what a creator has chosen to let you believe they are. And it creates, I think especially in younger kids and teenagers, this FOMO about life, this fear of missing out, because you see all these people like living these lifestyles and having so much fun and access to stuff and money and the ability to travel and do whatever you want, be your own boss. Like, that's a phrase that's been thrown around the internet so much over the last 5 or 10 years. And as I see it, it makes me wonder, like, I just wish that there was a glass door that we could all look through and say, oh, there's a lot here that I don't necessarily want in my life. And I think it would help a lot of people be more satisfied with what they actually have, because the internet's just so weird. The internet is like this weird lens that distorts reality so well, and content creators are really good at that. And again, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying I kind of want to explore like the other side of just like showing how easy it is to create something that looks a certain way that actually is not in any way what you're seeing on social media. That's the premise behind this. Sorry for that super long rant. Here is how I put together this Photoshop composite, and how you can too. It's actually pretty simple. First, I imported my images into Lightroom and then dropped them into Photoshop so that I could cut myself out of the image. So once I dropped myself in and cut out the background, I added shadows to my backpack, shadows on the couch. I replaced the TV screens with Netflix. And interestingly enough, as I was editing this, I feel like the flowers inside the cabin were not part of the original image. Those look like they were dropped in post using Photoshop. I don't know that those are part of the original set. Wherever this photographer took this photo, I have a sneaky suspicion these flowers were not part of that original image. Just saying. So the cabin, I was really happy with how this image turned out, and it really boiled down to the fact that the lighting in my living room very closely matched the lighting direction and intensity in the cabin when this photographer took the photo of the Gulf Stream interior. And the photo in front of the plane was really fun because I just snapped a selfie during sunset, and I also took a picture of one of Utah's mountain ranges and dropped that in. So it looks like I'm on a runway here in Utah. And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome videos. These videos are going to get really interesting quickly. Hit me up on TikTok where I post some behind the scenes stuff, and follow me on Instagram at Christopher Claflin. My handle is the same on TikTok, and I will see you guys later. Oh, last thing. All my friends and family that are still watching my videos, you don't have to, but thank you. But you don't have to. Anyway, hope everybody's happy and healthy. See you next time. Bye.